Joining us now for our weekly health and wellness segment, where we talk about tips and advice from an expert, is Gayle Taub, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and owner of Gazelle Health. Gayle, thanks so much for joining us again this morning.
Good morning, Maddie. Thanks for having me.
So, Gayle, we have talked before about figuring out what is best for each person on an individual level and seeking out proper information. I think today we could touch a little bit about workout trends and common mistakes that people are making when working out. So, Gayle, what are some of those common mistakes that you see when people make when they're venturing out into working out and getting healthy?
Yeah, so, physical movement, physical exercise, again, very different for every person. And starting with the approach that you take, the kind of exercise and the difficulty or the type of level that you decide to start at is super important. And a lot of times does not work long term because you're probably not in the right zone for yourself. So, when you're thinking about the approach that you want to take, there's a few things to keep in mind. Number one, when was the last time you actually regularly exercised? And how did you do it before that worked really well for you? Knowing full well that you're older now, you're different, whether it's a year later, 6 months, or 10 years later, you got to find something that feels right to you and good to you. Once you kind of have an idea of what you want to try, whether it's a group class or whether it's working out at home or with a private trainer, be very careful to beware of advice from people that are trying to help you perhaps, or trying to share what they know but don't know you. And so taking advice from people in the gym or people that haven't even asked you a question and are just observing and trying to help is probably not a good idea. They may or may not give you good advice, and you may or may not feel good about trying it and coming out on the other side with things that work for you. Again, with the approach, the third thing to watch out for is how quickly are you giving up? Or how quickly are you continuing? Is it the right thing for you? Are you an aggressive worker outer? Are you someone who enjoys stretching or needs to work up to a certain point? So first and foremost, like I always suggest, think about yourself, avoid looking around, and pick an approach that works for you, at least to try. Outcome wise, so let's say you find something, right? The actual exercise that you're doing should be appropriate for you, and it should be building into something stronger for you, whether you're learning how to do a proper squat and a little concerned about that or unsure, never having done a squat, or maybe you're someone who knows how to do a squat and wants to crank it up a bit and learn how to increase that intensity or type of exercise. So make sure that you are building up as opposed to starting all the way at one distance and expecting yourself to do what's right and expecting that outcome that you're looking for. Challenging but doable. That's a really good phrase to keep in mind. Something is difficult and challenging, but it is totally doable for you. You feel good after. And how you feel after is really important. Is it overwhelming? Did it feel great? Did it energize you? Were you a little bit sore? Pay attention to the way that you feel, the kind of work that you're doing, and then you have the opportunity to shift and change as time passes and you want different or more.
And Gayle, for people that are looking to avoid some of these mistakes when they are venturing into their health and wellness journey, what do you suggest for getting the proper information, avoiding people on social media that may be thinking that they have all the tips and tricks, or for those people in the gym that are just observing and not answering any questions? Do you have any advice on where people can get that proper information?
Yeah, start with a professional. So if you're at the gym, ask about their personal trainers. Maybe 1 or 2 sessions might do it for you to learn a little bit and to make sure that you're doing things in a way that makes sense for you. Remember a few weeks back, whether you saw that segment or not, taking someone's word for it that they know what's right for you is not a great way to find the right person. look at their credentials, ask them questions, and my goodness, if they don't have many questions for you or ask you to move for them, to show them so that they can evaluate, I would beware of those folks. Maybe they mean well, but maybe they're not the right person for you, or perhaps they're not even qualified. So you should have some questions. They should certainly have some questions. And before anybody recommends anything to anybody, watching you move will be a perfect baseline for a professional trainer to be able to guide you appropriately next. So if those things don't fall into place, maybe think about someone else.
And Gayle, the perfect example for a personal trainer and nutrition coach is you. So how can you give us some information on how our viewers can contact you to get that advice and to have that initial conversation about their health and wellness journey with you?
Sure. I have a website. It's coachgayle.com. You spell my name Gayle. So it's coachgayle.com. You can message me through there. You can also see some of the things that I'm up to, and there's a really good photo gallery and some ideas about what it feels like for different people. You can see different situations of me working with people, a little bit of my personality too, and give me a call. You can also reach me at 248-885-1400. And I would say, guys, listen, the hardest part sometimes is that first step. You have it on your mind. You think you want to call or at least explore talking to me or someone else or stepping into that gym. Take that step, guys. It gets so much easier once you start to have that confidence. So give me a ring. There's no strings attached. I would love to meet you and hear your story, ask you some questions, and see how I can help.
Well, Gayle, it's always a pleasure to have you on the Splash Live. Thank you so much for joining us again and giving that great information to us.
Thank you so much, Maddie. Have a great day.
Thanks, Gayle. You too.